We all try and keep track of moments in our lives, but often these moments vanish. Now, some of them have been recovered, and we're about to get real lost. Hey everybody, John Tenney here. Welcome to the 4th episode of Real Lost, the podcast where I reach into a unlabeled pile of reel-to-reel tapes that I've acquired over the years, and we listen to what's on them and discuss how screwed up they are. I have become convinced that these tapes are getting weirder and weirder. The first two were strange, the third one was very odd, and this one is very, very, very strange to me. Just to recap for those of you who are listening for the first time, I have a huge box of reel-to-reel tapes that I've acquired over the past 25 years. They've come from numerous sources, mostly people who were into metaphysics and the paranormal and all sorts of weird belief systems or odd belief systems or strange religious or medicinal or holistic organizations or groups. None of these tapes are labeled, and I've never listened to what's on them before. So as I digitize them, as they're going into the computer, I can't actually hear what's on them until the playback later. Now, these tapes contain up to 2 hours of recording. So far, I haven't found one that's over about 30 minutes. But I let the tapes run their full course, just in case there's something at the very beginning or very end that I miss. So that's the basic premise of what I'm doing here. Now, this tape I let run its full course, which is about an hour total, and I check on it randomly to make sure that the tape isn't getting wound up in the gears or being eaten. This tape was falling apart as it was recording, so I had to keep a pretty steady eye on it, but I had turned my computer monitor off, so I couldn't even look at the waveform. When I went back and looked, there was a huge chunk of nothing at the very beginning and a huge chunk of nothing at the very end, and only recorded sound somewhere in the middle, and it wasn't very long. So I was really interested in how that got there and why that got there. So after it was done recording, I took the file and I moved it onto the computer where I do editing for the show and started listening to it. And there's a weird tone when the sounds begin, and then all of a sudden it blasts into this really loud, the levels are way off, and it's someone talking. And strangely enough, I recognize the voice of Krishnamurti, who was a philosopher teacher who passed away in 1986. He was an Indian philosophy teacher who was discovered as a little boy by the Theosophical Society. He was good friends with Annie Besant and all of the people who kind of promoted theosophy. But he broke from them at a certain point because he, as a master teacher or philosopher, did not believe in organized religions. And I had heard different lectures by him before, and so even though I couldn't really understand everything he was saying because the levels were so blown out, I recognized the voice as his. So as I was listening to it, it's only a few minutes long, and again, it's really hard to listen to. I won't fault you for skipping past it because it does get kind of grating to you. How bad it's recorded, but I can't tell if it's like recorded off television or if it was recorded live. There seems to be other people talking in the background, maybe car horns I'm picking up sometimes, or traffic. So I don't know if this was recorded off television or if the person who recorded it was actually at a Krishnamurti lecture. I'm not sure. But then it immediately stops. There's a quick cut, and we break to what sounds like a woman talking to someone who is asleep. And you can hear the person that she's talking to snoring in the background. And it creeps me out. I listen to these mostly around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning alone in my house. And so this became unsettling to me. And I guess the best way to do this is to just throw you into it and let you listen to it. And we'll talk about it on the other side. A quick note, I would warn you to not have the sound up too loud for the very end of the recording itself, because again, when it reached the end, something very strange happens and it shocked me and scared me so bad I dumped coffee all over myself. So just be prepared for that. It's pretty shocking. I mean, I don't know what it is. It's just goes from soft to very loud very quickly. So here it is. Check it out, and I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
And I'm always seeking something which will give me immense satisfaction, and I know there isn't any. See, the restless mind may be the result of a neurological state, or restless because we haven't found an answer to anything. An answer in the deep sense of the word to fundamental issues. Now, it's nothing to do, it's like a leaf driven all over the place. And without understanding the nature of one's own thinking, which is self-knowing, quietness of the mind is not possible. And to know oneself is the beginning of wisdom. Not in a book, not in psychology, prophecy, all that. Wisdom is in knowing oneself. It comes out of the soil of self-knowing.
How do you fix the negative aspect of a restless mind? The active mind such as yours right now, the creative mind.
Again, this is a very difficult word, creative.
Your distorted, crippled measuring stick you use. Now, you were a happy child. You ran and played. But there is still perfection and glory for you if you will sit quiet and see it, appreciate it. And if you will stop filling your stomach with those synthetic arsenics, so beware of time, for he is, as you know him, a liar. This is now, but tomorrow is forever. Hope you can use always. Treat yourself gently. Do you get this? I suppose. You all there is companionship needed, and it's well to remember that you should love and not worship. For worship is a screaming for perfection, and perfection is all you see. So how can you improve what is already perfect? Those colors are rich. Keep them in mind. Look for them in each other. For your halos are tinged with a resounding glimmer of all of them. It gives you a pretty pinkness all around you. You smile and it becomes deeper. Don't be angry. It gets too red. But you have the same shades now, though it's a long way to go for the gold. Just keep on trying to reach the inner man, and you will be very successful. Was there all to do now?
So what was that? It sounds like the person that she's talking to who's sleeping wakes up out of a nightmare. Like, it sounds like someone screaming and immediately coming out of a nightmare, or maybe not realizing that she was in the room. But what happened? It freaked me out the first time I heard it. It's disturbing how really terrifying it sounded to me the first time I heard it at 3 o'clock in the morning. I have no idea what's going on here. And again, it's so strange to me that there is nothing at the beginning of this tape. There's this Krishnamurti thing, which is interrupted by this woman talking to someone who's asleep, who bursts out of it. It sounds like they burst out of it wide awake from some kind of horrific nightmare to dead silence again. And then there's another 30 minutes maybe of emptiness on the other side of this. So it's just in the middle of this tape. And it's so strange that it's there even. I don't know what to think about it. These tapes are really, really, in my mind, getting weirder and weirder. I don't know how, I'm just randomly pulling them out. And I thought, okay, I do know that some of these tapes contain lecture series and recordings of people, proposing ideas and expounding different philosophical ideas. But this stuff is just strange to me, like very bizarre. I don't know why I don't know why it gives me the creeps as much as it does. Like, it really, in that instance, it sounds like she's talking to someone who doesn't know she's in the room, and then that person wakes up and just goes bonkers. So I really don't know what to say. It's up to you to just kind of draw your own conclusions about what's happening there. If you're interested in Krishnamurti's teachings, they're interesting to listen to. And there's a lot of controversy behind his youth, which I said because he was involved with the Theosophical Society and Annie Besant and Madame Blavatsky and all of that stuff that kind of grew him. But, it was kind of nice that he ended up breaking away from them and becoming friends with people like Aldous Huxley and physicists at the time, all the way, and doing lecture series up until he died in 1986. There's still a Krishnamurti Foundation. And it's interesting to read if you're interested in that type of stuff. It's basically just getting to know yourself and the knowledge of the ages, I guess. So there you have it. That's episode 4 of Real Lost. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, or desires, you can email me at john@weirdlectures.com. And if you have any ideas about what you're hearing, maybe you're hearing some more that I'm not hearing in these tapes, you can leave that in the comments section on the website or on the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/reallost. So again, thanks for listening. I wish I had more to tell you. I wish I knew what was going on in these tapes, and just sometimes I don't. And at some point I do expect to talk more, but it's when I have more information about what's happening in these reel-to-reels that you'll hear me talking more. I really do love to let these reels just, in a certain sense, sit by themselves and wait to be discovered. This tape is broken into pieces. It'll never be played again. So I'm happy once again that I got it digitized before it was gone, even though no one will maybe ever know what it is. But I'm glad you could hear it. So I'll talk to you next week. Go out there and do something, but don't get lost.